Welcome back to the show. We are sitting down with Defence Minister Harjit Sajjan, one of the few ministers who kept his portfolio in the recent cabinet swearing in. You're also from British Columbia. You're a Western Canadian. Your government is trying to figure out how to approach a minority situation and how to deal with the alienation in Alberta and in Saskatchewan. What advice have you given the Prime Minister on how to approach that?
You know, the approach that our government is taking with not only with our cabinet, this is about addressing Canadians' needs, and that's exactly what we're going to do. Let's hear those concerns and how we can move forward and making sure that they feel that their voices are also heard, and also things that they want and need, that we can deliver on those.
There's been a lot of concern here at the Halifax Forum about the influence of China and the direction that that country is going in. Are you considering putting more Canadian military assets into that region?
One thing that was very missing, but even before we launched the defense policy, is we put China aside, that our presence in the Asia Pacific was not consistent. That's something that I heard from our partners, and that we will come up with a plan to be more persistent. That's exactly what we have done. And so now you have seen greater exercise that have been conducted, more deployments, and also with Operation Neon, the sanctions monitoring against North Korea is something that we're doing. Now, nations in the Asia Pacific can actually rely on us because they know that we are having a persistent presence.
So that's a presence that could increase.
And when I first increased our presence into the area, it was about looking at building those relationships, managing disasters, making sure that we look at foreign fighters in that region. We have the flexibility to do more, but these are the decisions that we as a government will make, so that so we can be a reliable partner.
NATO spending. It's been a tense issue between Canada and the US at times. They'd like us to be spending 2%. We're not spending 2% despite saying we plan to get there. I've had multiple sources tell me that the Canadian government received an official démarche, which is like a diplomatic reprimand, a letter from the US Embassy saying, you promised you were going to send more. We don't see any evidence that you're spending more. Tell me about that letter and your response to it.
Well, first of all, it's not just about this administration. We've had previous administrations always talking about burden sharing. And when they talked about the Wales Pledge, something that we have been supporting, one of the things that we did, our Prime Minister did, and especially when you go back to 2015, was we talked about the importance of multilateralism and how we need to do our part, strengthening NATO. In fact, actually, the Prime Minister put it in my previous mandate letter, how to strengthen those ties with NATO. To do this, what he also directed me to do is conduct a full defense policy review. And that comprehensive review has allowed us...
But that review, Minister, was years ago. I mean, we're talking about now and whether or not you're going to meet that 2% spending goal.
I'm going to go to that. But the thing is, what you need to do is demonstrate, you have to get an idea of where we're at. And if you look at, not just with NATO, our presence, we have to look at the Arctic, our presence in the Pacific, what we need to look in Canada, it allows us to have a very thorough look of what we can do, which included our support to NATO. So now once we had that comprehensive plan, which now allowed us to increase our spending by 70%, allows us to now invest in the right capabilities. Those capabilities are not just that we're investing in high-level capabilities that look into the future, are based on what NATO is going to need, what potential future coalitions might need, what we might need to do in the Arctic. But then the final piece to it is probably the most important piece, is the contributions. Is have the cash that gives you the capabilities, but you need to contribute.
But the Americans are very clearly saying in that letter, you are not spending 2%. Why are you not spending 2%? You're supposed to be spending 2%. You're supposed to be moving towards it. We don't see you doing that. I mean, that's an unusual move for them to send that kind of a letter to you.
I think, as I stated, we've been having discussion about burden sharing for some time. And what we need to do to get to your defense investment, 70% increase is a significant amount.
So where did that money go? Sorry? Because we don't have vastly more people, we haven't bought vastly more equipment.
Actually, in fact, this is where I have to disagree with you. The plan that we put on the defense policy has outlined the defense investment plan, where we worked with the defense industry. We've actually outlined for the next 10 years of where we want to go, and we actually have the money for it.
Isn't that pushing the money forward though, to when you're out of government?
This is something that we need to be able to educate Canadians more on. The plan that we put into place is about having the money for when the procurement comes.
You're saying you've increased it 70% of the overall defense
budget. By 2026, so from 2016-17.
By 2026, but not right now.
You need to make sure you have the right money at the appropriate time. But the investments that we're making into our people, the satellites that we're putting up, we have enough money now for just the 5 ships. We purchased a 6th as well. The 15 surface combatants are fully costed. The fighter procurement project is ongoing as well. So these are those things that the significant increase that we're making. We need to first making sure that we're able to deliver on the plan that we have right now. Things are on track. That allows us to look at the other future investments that we also need to make, which also does not include any type of deployments that we take. That's outside of the defense policy.
Are you concerned about the relationship with the Americans, though, when they are saying that they don't know whether NATO is still viable? The French president is saying that NATO is brain dead, and the Americans are saying, look, people have to step up to the plate, and they're basically shaming you in this letter, saying, why aren't you doing more?
The relationship in Canada and the U.S., the defense relationship, I think is even stronger now, because they see a tangible plan that we have created. It's working actually extremely well. But let's not forget, when it comes to things like procurement, you have to invest in the people to make it happen.
Minister Sajjan, thank you so much for your time today.
Great, thank you. Thank you for having me.
That's all the time we have for today. Thanks for joining us from right here in Halifax. For the West Block, I'm Mercedes Stephenson. Have a great week.